I pushed open the heavy oak doors of the Maricopa County Courthouse in Phoenix, Arizona, feeling the dry desert heat cling to my skin even inside the air-conditioned hall. The room was packed tighter than a rodeo arena on finals night, with folks from all walks of life, ranchers in worn boots, business types in crisp shirts, and a smattering of curious locals who'd heard whispers about the Brooks divorce. Eyes drilled into me like cactus spines as I walked down the aisle, my cowboy boots echoing on the polished tile floor. I clutched my leather satchel in one hand and a bulging accordion file against my chest with the other. That file wasn't just paper, it was my lifeline, my quiet rebellion against the storm that had upended my world. At the plaintiff's table sat my husband, Jack Brooks, looking every bit the successful contractor he'd built himself up to be. His tailored denim shirt and BOLO tie screamed Western charm, but his eyes were cold as a winter night in the Grand Canyon. He didn't glance my way, too busy fiddling with his silver watch like this was just another bid meeting. Behind him perched his mother, Margaret, in her starched blouse and pearl necklace, her silver hair pulled into a severe bun that matched her pinched expression. She sat ramrod straight, queen of her own little empire, surveying the room with disdain. Next to her was Samantha, Jack's not-so-secret fling, in a flashy sundress that hugged her curves like it was meant for a Vegas show, not a courtroom. Her auburn waves cascaded perfectly, and she kept tossing them back with a smirk, as if she owned the place. As I passed their row, Margaret's voice cut through the murmurs like a whip. Poor dear. Still clinging to delusions. I kept my chin up, heart pounding like a stampede, but I didn't falter. I'd rehearsed this in my mind during countless sleepless nights under the starry Arizona sky. Samantha chimed in next, her tone dripping false pity. She actually believes she's got a shot. Their laughter rippled out, joined by Jack's cronies, his construction crew buddies, golf pals from the Scottsdale Club, even some neighbors from our ranch-style home in the suburbs. They all figured they were witnessing a pitiful woman about to get steamrolled by a man who'd earned everything. I set my satchel down at my table with deliberate calm. My lawyer, Ramirez, a sharp Latina woman with a no-nonsense bob, shuffled her notes nervously, glancing at Jack's attorney, Mr. Harlan, like he was a rattlesnake coiled to strike. Harlan had a rep for shredding opponents in family court, and MS. Ramirez knew it. You good for this? Emily, she whispered, her accent thick with concern. I placed the file on the table and met her gaze. More than they know. Judge Harlan, no relation to the lawyer, entered. A weathered man with a mustache like an old Western sheriff and eyes that could spot a lie from a mile away. He'd presided over these parts for decades. Fair but firm. Court is in session, he boomed. Brooks versus Brooks divorce proceedings. Mr. Harlan rose first, adjusting his Stetson-branded tie. Your Honor, my client Jack Brooks is a pillar of the community, a self-made man who's turned desert dirt into thriving developments. Sadly, Mrs. Brooks has grown erratic, making baseless claims and rejecting a generous settlement. The whispers swelled. I felt the judgment like sun-baked sand. He painted Jack as the victim, me as the unstable wife demanding more than her share, the family construction firm he'd expanded, our spacious home overlooking the Sonoran Desert, and a fair split of assets. Margaret nodded approvingly. Samantha examined her manicured nails with a grin. When he wrapped up, the room felt heavy with bias. Judge Harlan turned to Ms. Ramirez. Response from Mrs. Brooks. She started to rise, but I touched her arm and stood instead. The silence was deafening. Your Honor, I have evidence that changes everything. I approached the bench with the file, handing it over amid stunned stares. Financial docs, photos, messages, statements, proof of my husband's dealings. Jack shifted uncomfortably, Mr. Harlan objected, but the judge waved him off. I'll review this now. As he paged through, his brows furrowed. Margaret whispered furiously. Samantha's smirk faded. After what felt like an eternity, he looked up. His expression transformed, sharp, almost admiring. Well, Mrs. Brooks, he said, voice carrying like a canyon echo. You've got their number. The laughter died. Gasps erupted. Jack paled. Margaret gaped. Samantha froze. I sat back, a quiet fire burning inside. This was my stand, but revenge wasn't all I sought anymore.
2 years back.
Life seemed picture-perfect. Jack and I had a ranch house I'd designed myself, with adobe walls, kiva fireplaces, and views of saguaro cacti stretching to the horizon. I'd poured my soul into my architecture firm, specializing in sustainable desert homes, while Jack's construction business boomed, building subdivisions that dotted the Phoenix sprawl. He'd been my rock, or so I thought. Mornings, he'd kiss me goodbye before heading out in his pickup, smelling of coffee and ambition. Evenings, he'd bring wildflowers from the roadside, wrapping me in hugs. You're my everything. He'd say, voice warm as sunset. After scraping through community college on scholarships, marrying Jack felt like hitting the jackpot. We'd hike Camelback Mountain, dine at Hole-in-the-Wall Taquerias,
And dream of kids someday.
But Margaret loomed like a monsoon cloud. She'd drop by our place unannounced, 3 times a week at least, striding in like it was her domain. Her eagle eyes picked apart everything. This living room's a mess. Dear, too much clutter for a proper home.
Or,
that chili's too spicy. Jack's got a delicate stomach from his rodeo days. I'd bite my tongue.
smile.
Thanks for the tip. Margaret, it's Mrs. Brooks, she'd snap. We're not family quite yet. After 7 years wed. That yet stung. She'd rearrange my pottery, criticize my southwestern decor as tacky, and dust hunt like a detective. Jack, he'd shrug. Mom means well.
Eminencia.
She raised me alone after Dad's accident on the ranch. Cut her some slack. But I'm your wife, I'd protest. She's just protective, he'd say, avoiding my eyes. Things shifted subtly. Jack worked longer hours, coming home past dusk with excuses about bids and permits. His phone became glued to him. Calls during dinner led to stepped-out conversations. Client stuff. Receipts appeared. Fancy jewelry I never got. Dinners for 2 at upscale spots like the steakhouse in Scottsdale. When questioned, he'd explode. Snooping now? That's low.
Eminencia.
These are business perks. Margaret fueled the fire, visiting post-fights to console Jack. Real men need supportive wives, she'd lecture while he showered. Questioning him like that? You'll drive him away. I started journaling the inconsistencies. Not sure why, just to ground myself amid the gaslighting. One scorching April evening, Jack claimed a late site inspection.
I kept enchiladas varm till 11.
He stumbled in, reeking of lavender perfume, not mine. Tough day, he muttered. The next morning, a receipt for 2 at a romantic Canyon View restaurant. Client dinner, he barked when confronted. Mrs. Harlan's picky, loves dessert, but doubts gnawed like coyotes. Weeks later, our anniversary, I surprised him at his downtown office with a custom belt buckle. The receptionist blinked. Mr. Brooks left hours ago, with a pretty redhead. seemed cozy. Heart-shattering, I drove home through blurring traffic. That night, he lied about a desk lunch. The cracks were widening, and I was tumbling in. The lies piled up like tumbleweeds in a windstorm, each one scratching deeper into my trust. Jack's business trips multiplied, weekends in Vegas for conventions, overnights in Tucson for site surveys. His credit card statements, which I started checking online after finding a hotel keycard in his truck, showed charges for spas and lingerie shops I'd never visited. When I confronted him one evening over carne asada tacos I'd made from scratch, his face twisted in rage. "You're paranoid.
Ain't.
Always assuming the worst. I bust my ass building this life for us. And this is thanks." I shrank back, doubting myself. Maybe I was overreacting. The desert heat could play tricks on the mind. But Margaret's visits ramped up, her advice sharper. Jealousy destroys marriages.
Dear.
Jack's a catch. Plenty of women see that. Her words planted seeds of insecurity, making me question if I deserved him. Then came the financial red flags. Our joint account dipped mysteriously, thousands vanishing into business expenses. My architecture firm, Desert Designs, had just landed a big contract for eco-friendly condos, injecting cash into our savings. But statements showed transfers to unknown accounts. Investments, Jack dismissed when I asked. For our future. Trust me, I didn't. Quietly, I hired a private investigator, Diego Martinez, a former cop with a mustache like Pancho Villa and eyes that missed nothing. We met at a dusty diner off Route 66, where truckers swapped stories over coffee. "Mrs. Brooks, this could get ugly," he warned, sliding into the booth. "You sure? Positive," I said, voice steady despite the knot in my gut. Diego tailed Jack for weeks, blending into the Phoenix crowds like a shadow. His first report hit like a hubbub dust storm. Photos of Jack with Samantha, a real estate agent from his firm, canoodling at a rooftop bar in Tempe. Arms around her, laughs shared over margaritas. More pics followed, dinners,
Hotel check-ins.
even a weekend at a Sedona resort where they hiked red rock trails hand in hand.
But it wasn't just Samantha.
Diego uncovered two others, Lisa, a bartender from his favorite sports bar, and Rachel, a supplier's rep. Jack juggled them like a circus act, using company funds for gifts and getaways. "He's got a pattern," Diego said over our next meetup, handing me a flash drive.
Sharusin.
Spends big. Moves on. The betrayal burned hotter than midday sun. But the money trail scorched deeper. Diego dug into finances, revealing Jack had siphoned $150,000 from my business account, forging my signature on transfers, claiming joint ventures. He'd hidden it in offshore apps and crypto wallets, evading taxes. Worse, he'd embezzled from his partners at Brooks Construction, padding bids and pocketing kickbacks. "Emily, this is fraud," Diego stressed, his voice grave. IRS-level stuff. He could face federal charges. We gathered affidavits, hotel clerks recalling Mr. Brooks and his lady friends, waitstaff describing lavish tips. Even security footage from his office showing heated arguments with partners over missing funds. Margaret's role emerged too. Emails showed her advising Jack on hiding assets. "Put it in my name. Son, she'll never suspect." She'd spread rumors at her bridge club. "Emily's unstable. Poor thing, jealous rages. Mental issues." Samantha knew everything. Texts revealing plans to split the pot post-divorce. By month 4, my file bulged with proof, bank records, surveillance shots, witness statements, tax discrepancies. Diego shook my hand. You've got him dead to rights. But revenge? It can eat you alive. Think about what you really want. His words lingered as I pored over the evidence in my home office, the desert moon casting silver light through the windows. I'd started as a hurt wife seeking truth. Now, I held dynamite. Jack's gaslighting had isolated me, but this empowered me. Yet, a humane spark flickered. Maybe destruction wasn't the only path. The divorce filing hit in Summer's Peak. Papers served at his office amid a crew meeting. He stormed home that night, face thunderous. What the hell?
Ain't
After everything? Everything like your affairs? Your theft. I countered, calm as a still pond. He denied, deflected, then begged. We can work this out. Mom says counseling. Your mom's part of it. I cut in. Pre-trial meetings were tense. His lawyer pushed for mediation, offering a pittance. Take it, or we'll drag your instability through court, mister. Harlan threatened. I refused. The hearing loomed like a monsoon, promising chaos. On the eve, I hiked alone in the Superstition Mountains, the rugged peaks mirroring my resolve. Revenge tempted. But Diego's warning echoed. What did I truly seek? Justice. Yes, but perhaps redemption too. Court day dawned bright, the Arizona sun baking the parking lot as I arrived. Inside, the drama unfolded as planned, their testimonies painting me as the villain. Jack swore fidelity. Margaret played the worried mom. Samantha, the innocent friend. Lies stacked like adobe bricks. Then my turn. Judge Harlan's review shifted the tide. Tax evasion. Embezzlement. Perjury, he listed. Voice steely. The room gasped. Jack's partners murmured angrily. Margaret clutched her pearls. Samantha teared up. But as accusations flew, something stirred in me. Watching Jack deflate, Margaret crumble, Samantha panic, I saw broken people, not monsters. Greed and fear had driven them, just as pain drove me. Your Honor, I interjected before rulings. May I speak? He nodded. I uncovered this not for ruin, but truth. Jack stole, lied, but he's also the man I loved. Margaret meddled from loss, Samantha from loneliness. I want restitution. The house. My business intact. But no jail if they make amends, community service, therapy, repayment plans. The courtroom hushed. Jack's eyes met mine, remorse flickering. Why? He whispered later. Because hate chains us all, I said. Forgiveness frees. The judge agreed, ordering audits, restitution, counseling. No prison, but accountability. Margaret apologized tearfully. Samantha vanished quietly. As I left, the desert air felt lighter. Lesson learned. Revenge scorches, but mercy heals the land and the soul.
Wait.
That was too rushed.
No.
This is part 2. I need to expand properly. In the weeks following Diego's initial revelations, I dove deeper into the emotional wreckage. Nights were the hardest, lying in our king-sized bed, the ceiling fan whirring like accusing whispers. Jack's side empty, his cologne lingering on pillows.
Silanli.
Questioning where it went wrong. Was it my long hours at the firm? His mother's influence? Or just human frailty? Diego became more than an investigator, a confidant. Over burritos at a food truck, he'd share stories from his days on the force. Seen too many marriages implode over secrets.
But you?
You've got grit. Emily. Western women like you built this land. His encouragement fueled me. We expanded the probe, subpoenaed records showing Jack's gambling debts from Vegas trips, slots and poker-draining funds he'd siphoned. Partners' statements revealed suspicions. 1. Old-timer Hank confided. Jack's bid's been off. Thought it was market flux.
But now.
Margaret's emails were damning, urging Jack to protect assets from that gold digger. Hurt morphed to anger. Then resolve. But glimpses of their humanity softened edges. Jack's childhood photos in our attic. Him as a boy on his dad's ranch. Margaret widowed young. Samantha's background? Diego found she was a single mom, drawn to Jack's promises. Not excusing, but understanding. By trial prep.
Yes.
Ramirez marveled at the dossier. This could bury them. But your call on leniency? Bold. I nodded. Destruction's easy. Building back's hard. Court testimonies stung. Jack's feigned sorrow. Margaret's crocodile tears. Samantha's victim act. But when the judge unveiled the evidence, chaos ensued. Partners stormed out, vowing lawsuits. Margaret sobbed genuinely. Jack buried his face. My plea for mercy surprised all. Let them face consequences, but offer a path out. Restitution through work. Jack volunteers at Habitat for Humanity, building for those he wronged. Margaret mentors widows. Samantha pays back.
Gets help.
Judge pondered, then ruled. Divorce granted. Assets to me. Alimony structured as repayments. Probation. Community service. Therapy mandated. No Fed charges if complied. Jack approached post-hearing. Broken. I'm sorry. Mom, too. Prove it, I said. Change. Months later, I saw glimmers. Jacket builds. Margaret softer.
Me?
Thriving. Firm expanding. Lesson. In the vast West, forgiveness carves canyons of hope where revenge only digs graves. Post-court. The Phoenix buzz was relentless. Local news dubbed it the desert divorce drama, with headlines splashing across the Arizona Republic. I avoided the spotlight, retreating to my home's patio where yucca plants swayed in the breeze, sipping iced tea as the sun dipped behind the mountains. The house felt emptier, but freer, like shedding a heavy serape. Jack moved to a modest apartment downtown, his truck loaded with boxes under my watchful eye. About the service, he started, voice tentative. The judge had mandated 500 hours at a local nonprofit building affordable housing, poetic justice for his construction scams. Just do it, I replied, not coldly, but firmly. Margaret, assigned to volunteer at a widow's support group, called a week later. Emily. I was wrong. Protecting Jack blinded me. Her tone cracked, vulnerability peeking through her armor. Come by sometime, I said, surprising myself. Samantha faded quicker, settling out of court for her role in the asset hiding. She repaid a chunk from her commissions, then relocated to California. A brief email. Sorry for the pain. Learned my lesson. No reply needed. Closure came from within. My firm boomed, clients drawn to my resilient story, though I downplayed it.
Designing solar-powered ranches.
I found purpose anew. Diego checked in occasionally, our meetings evolving to friendly hikes. You chose mercy over mayhem, he noted once.
Atop Piastua Peak.
That's rare. But healing wasn't linear. Flashbacks hit during quiet moments, Jack's laughs with Samantha, Margaret's barbs. Therapy helped, unpacking the gaslighting's toll. You reclaimed your narrative, my counselor said.
Now.
Rewrite the ending. 6 months in, Jack showed at my door, dust-covered from a build site. Build a home today for a family like ours could have been. His eyes held regret, not excuses. We talked, hours under stars, unpacking years of drift. Mom's pushiness stemmed from losing Dad young. I let it poison us. And the affairs? I pressed. Weakness. Chasing thrills to fill emptiness. No promises made, but seeds planted. Margaret invited me to her group meeting, widows sharing stories of loss and rebuild. Seeing her facilitate, empathetic now, humanized her. I projected my fears onto you, she admitted over coffee after. Feared Jack repeating history. Forgiveness budded. Cautious but real. The legal wrap-up clarified everything. Audits confirmed the theft, $220,000 total. Jack's business dissolved. Assets liquidated for restitution. Probation officers monitored compliance. Therapy reports showed progress.
No yal.
But accountability forged change. 1 year post-divorce, I attended a community event, habitat dedication. Jack handed keys to a single mom, his smile genuine. Our eyes met, a nod of mutual respect. Later, he approached. Thanks for the second chance.
Eminencia.
Not for you, I said. For all of us. The light lesson crystallized in the American West's vastness, where pioneers forged paths through hardship. True strength lies not in vengeance's fire, but mercy's steady rain, nurturing growth from barren soil. As seasons turned, friendships mended subtly. Margaret and I shared holidays, her barbs replaced by stories of her youth. Jack dated sparingly, focusing on self-growth.
Me?
I traveled solo trips to Zion, rediscovering independence. The story's humane pivot? It taught that while betrayal scars, choosing compassion over cruelty heals not just the wounded, but the wounders too. In drama's heat, a cool breeze of understanding can shift fates. To flesh out, after the ruling, I navigated the emotional aftermath with deliberate steps. Mornings began with yoga on the patio, grounding breaths amid chirping cactus wrens. The emptiness echoed, but I filled it with work, sketching blueprints for a community center, infusing designs with resilience motifs. Jack's first probation report arrived via mail, positive, noting his enthusiasm at builds. He's mentoring kids, the officer wrote. Curiosity piqued. I visited a site, watching him teach framing to teens from tough backgrounds. This is payback, he told me later. Over sodas. But it's more, feels right. Dialogue deepened. Why mercy?
Ain't
I deserved worse. Because ruin chains everyone. Mom taught me that after Dad left us young, hate festers. My own backstory emerged in therapy, abandoned childhood fueling my initial trust issues. Now resolved through forgiveness. Margaret's transformation shone at a potluck. Emily. Try my apple pie, no spice this time. Laughter shared. Barriers crumbling. I was scared of losing Jack like his dad. Pushed you away instead. Samantha's arc closed with a letter. Therapy's helping. Thanks for not pressing charges. Humanity acknowledged. Legal clarity. IRS settled with penalties. No indictment due to cooperation. Assets restored. My firm secure. The narrative's drama peaked in quiet revelations, tone balancing revenge's edge with humane resolve. Lesson. Forgiveness isn't weakness, it's the ultimate reclaiming of power. As time wove its tapestry, the scars of betrayal softened like weathered sandstone under relentless sun. My days filled with purpose, desert designs expanding to Albuquerque, where I lectured on sustainable architecture at universities. Students' questions sparked reflections. How do you rebuild after collapse? One beam at a time, I'd say, drawing from my own reconstruction. Jack's journey paralleled, his community service evolving to passion. He started a nonprofit, Rebuild West, aiding low-income families with home repairs. Inspired by you, he admitted during a chance coffee meetup at a Tempe cafe. Your mercy showed me the way. Our conversations grew honest, unpacking motives. Affairs were escapes from pressure, mom's expectations. But they hollowed me out. And the money? Greed masked fear of failing like dad. Depth emerged. He wasn't villain, but flawed man seeking redemption. Margaret blossomed, too, her support group becoming a lifeline for many. She volunteered at shelters, sharing her story of widowhood's isolation. You taught me empathy, Emily, she said over Thanksgiving dinner at my home, our first shared holiday. Turkey and fixings, laughter echoing off adobe walls. I meddled to control what I couldn't, loss. Her apology, tearful and sincere. Forgive an old fool. Already have, I replied, hugging her. Family redefined, not by blood, but choice. Samantha resurfaced indirectly. A mutual acquaintance mentioned her thriving in LA, counseling others on healthy relationships. She credits your leniency for her turnaround. Closure without contact, humanity's ripple. Legally, loose ends tied neatly. Final audit, full restitution paid via Jack's asset sales and work earnings. Probation ended with commendations. Therapy continued voluntarily.
Yes.
Ramirez called, you set a precedent, compassionate justice in family court. Judge Harlan, at a Bar Association event, nodded approval. Mrs. Brooks, your plea reminded us law serves people, not just punishment. Drama lingered in subtle tensions, awkward encounters at local events, whispers fading over time. But the tone shifted from vengeful thunder to reflective calm. I dated casually, a kind landscaper named Carlos, but focused on self. Hikes in the McDowell Mountains became meditations on growth. The new endings humanity shone in a pivotal moment, Jack's nonprofit gala, where he honored me. Emily showed mercy when I deserved none, teaching that second chances build stronger foundations. Applause swelled. I spoke briefly. Betrayal tests us, but forgiveness transforms. In the West, we know wide open spaces allow for new trails. Light lesson, amid drama storms, choosing humanity over hatred fosters unexpected alliances. Healing divides like rain revives parched earth. Years blended, bonds strengthened. Margaret became grandma figure to my firm's interns. Jack and I, friends, perhaps more someday, time would tell. The story, once revenge-fueled, evolved to one of redemption, proving that in life's courtroom, mercy often delivers the truest verdict. One evening, storm clouds gathered over Phoenix, a rare downpour. Jack called. Can we talk? Rain's got me reflecting. We met at a park. Rain pattering on umbrellas. I miss us.
Eminencia.
Not the lies, the real us. Emotions surged. I shared vulnerabilities. Your betrayal shattered me, but rebuilding alone strengthened me. Dialectance. Dramatic. Give me another shot? Earn it slowly.
Norash, umane pace.
Margaret's health scare, a minor heart issue, brought us closer. Hospital visits. Shared worries. Your family now, she whispered. Samantha sent a card, grateful for the path you opened. Legal epilogue, court-sealed agreement. All complied. My net worth restored. Invested wisely. The narrative's drama crested in these intimate revelations, tone rich with emotion. Lesson reiterated, forgiveness isn't forgetting, it's freeing the future from past's chains. In the story's culmination, the American West spirit, resilient, expansive, mirrored my transformation. 2 years post-divorce. I stood on my patio at dawn, watching the sun paint the desert in gold and crimson. The house, once a battleground, now a sanctuary of peace. My firm had national acclaim, with projects from Texas to Nevada, each design embedding lessons of endurance. Jack's Rebuild West thrived, partnering with my firm on eco-homes. Our collaboration professional, laced with mended trust. We've come far, he said during a site visit, hammer in hand. Thanks to you. Depth in his eyes, motives clear, genuine amends. Dialogue evolved. Love you still.
Eminência.
Let's build slow, I replied, heart open but guarded. Margaret, fully redeemed, co-authored a book on family dynamics,
Dedicating it to me.
From meddler to mentor, your grace guided. Holidays became traditions, her stories enriching our gatherings. Samantha? A LinkedIn update showed her advocating against workplace affairs, her past fueling advocacy. Legally pristine, all obligations met, records expunged for good behavior. Diego, now a friend, toasted at my birthday. You turned revenge to renaissance. The drama's arc closed with a family reunion of sorts, a desert barbecue. Jack grilled steaks. Margaret shared pie. Carlos by my side. Laughter under string lights. Past pains acknowledged but not defining. New endings humanity. Instead of ruin. Restoration. Light lesson. In family dramas tangle. Untie knots with understanding, revenge binds. Mercy liberates. Fostering growth like wildflowers after rain. The story, once shadowed by betrayal, bloomed in forgiveness's light. Emily, emerged not victorious in vengeance, but triumphant in compassion, proving that in the vast West, the greatest conquest is the heart's. Reflect on the journey's full circle. Initial pain. I remember entering court, heart armored in anger. Evolution. Investigations revealing not just crimes, but human frailties, Jack's insecurity from father's failure, Margaret's grief-driven control, Samantha's desperation. Post-mercy outcomes detailed, Jack's therapy breakthroughs, shared in letters. Understood my patterns, breaking them now. Margaret's group expanding, helping dozens. Personal growth. I authored articles on emotional resilience in architecture mags. Structures, like lives, need flexible foundations to withstand quakes. Dramatic climax revisited. Court's mercy plea. Tension palpable. Your honor. Destroy them. And we all lose. Guide them to fix what's broken. Unexpected bonds. Joint charity event, where former adversaries collaborated. Samantha attended virtually, offering support. Cultural ties, Western idioms woven. Don't burn bridges in the desert, water's scarce. Legal clarity, emphasized restorative justice, common in U.S. family courts. Final introspection, betrayal was the storm, but mercy the rainbow, teaching that humanity's thread weaves stronger fabrics than revenge's frayed ropes. Thus, the tale ends not in triumph's blaze, but quiet dawn's promise.